Relations are what takes simple sketch entities to the next level. Relations can control size, location, and equality between sketch elements. Relations are a core function of SOLIDWORKS, and understanding how they work is essential. Let's take a look at these 4 lines on the screen. You think about it, what creates a rectangle or what creates a square? Is this a square or a rectangle? Probably not. So let's take a look and see how we can convert this to being a rectangle or a square. We're going to do so using relationships. If I click on this first line here, notice it highlights. If I hold down the Control key, I have the ability to select the adjacent line. As soon as I release the Control key, I get this little pop-up window here, giving me a bunch of options: horizontal, vertical, collinear, perpendicular, parallel, equal, or fixed. These are a bunch of relationships that I can add to these 2 lines to control how they interact. Notice I also have those exact same relationships over here on the left-hand side. So to create this into a rectangle, we probably want to add a relationship that like a perpendicularity between those 2. Click on this first one and notice what happens. It changes the way they interact, and it's given us this little relationship indicator showing there's a perpendicular relationship between these 2. If I highlight over that little green box, notice the 2 related lines highlight, but we still don't quite have a rectangle, do we? So let's try again on the other side. So let's click on this first line here, hold on Control, select the next line, and add that same perpendicular relationship. Well, it's getting closer, but it's still not quite right. So the third one we're going to add is going to actually turn this into a rectangle. So if I'm going to click here, hold on Control, select the next line, and go ahead and say perpendicular. Now we've got a rectangle. We can drag it out. We can move it around. We can play with this rectangle, but it's not horizontal. It's not a horizontal rotation. It's kind of rotated out in some angle here. So I can go add one more relationship here, like to the top. I can say this line here is horizontal. And now I've got a rectangle that's quite controlled. We don't quite have it linked to the origin yet. That'd be the next step, but we could obviously go ahead and add one more line here, which would be a construction line, which is not used for the geometry, just to help us lay it out. And I'm going to add another relationship here as far as this line, and I'm going to hold down Control, select the origin. And this time I'm going to say I want this to be right in the midpoint of that line. Now as I drag this rectangle around, it's linked to the origin, and all these relationships are constantly active, controlling that shape of that object. If I don't like one of these relationships, I can always just click on that relationship and hit delete. Notice if I delete the relationship, the lines don't move. They stay exactly where they were. However, if I click on this line now, I have the ability to start wiggling this thing around, and it's going to start violating us being a nice rectangle. So if I want to fix it again, I go back here, add that relationship one more time, and I'm back to where I was. Sometimes when you're looking at these drawings, you can see a lot of these relationships, and it makes it hard to kind of see what's going on. Or you might be not seeing them at all. To show or hide these, you can go under the View command, click on View, and go down here to Sketch Relations. Hide them, or go back and you can say Show them. Adding and using relations can be a huge time saver and make your sketches easier to update and simpler to understand. Relationships are used throughout SOLIDWORKS, and the understanding of how they work is the most important thing in SOLIDWORKS.